Hey guys, today we're gonna be watching Houston car chase 10th October 2014. Tonight we're gonna be watching Houston car chase 10th October 2014. Yeah, October 10th 2014. abc13 ktrk khou. Yeah, let's watch it now. Watch it now. This is gonna be a video for tonight. I will upload 4 or 5 police chase videos tomorrow on my YouTube channel, so I promise. So let's watch it now. So let's watch it now.
We are breaking into our regular program this morning to give you a live look right now over a van in Northeast Houston being pursued by Houston police. We are unaware right now of why the pursuit is going on and why this vehicle will not.
Okay, the pursuit has been going on for an hour. It's been going on for about 15 minutes. Going on for about 15 minutes
we can tell you that there are
or
two
so.
suspects in the vehicle, and that police have been in pursuit, we think, for at least 10 minutes now, perhaps more.
Chasing for at least 10 minutes. It's been going on for the past 10 minutes or so, maybe the last 5 or 10 minutes or so. This chase has been going on for the last 10-15 minutes or so since the chase started.
We're southbound back on a major road. I'm trying to figure out what road he just took here, but we're now traveling southbound. We came off of eastbound Little York, where we picked up the chase at Tidwell and Wayside. He went through a little subdivision, came back out on the Wayside, and then took a right onto Little York. And now he is coming up to a major intersection right here, and he is now turning right onto, it looks like Sterling Chase. I'm not too sure, but he's now heading back westbound along Sterling Chase, which is just a little side road over here. As you mentioned, it's 2 to 3 suspects.
Okay, this chase has been going on for the better part of the past 15-20 minutes or so.
But you can see a lot of police presence behind him. He's now turning into an apartment complex, it looks like. We're going to follow him into here, see where he goes from there. But quite a few units behind him right now, Elisa, as he pulls into the back parking lot of this apartment complex.
Where you are right now, can you tell about how fast he's jumping out of the vehicle, bailing out at this point? We do believe that there are 2 in the vehicle, 1 on foot, as we can see from Sky Eye HD. We've lost sight at this point of the vehicle and where that second suspect might be. But as you can imagine, it looks like right there we can see the second person, 2 men, not in uniform. So yes, at this point, 2 on the run from Houston police in Northeast Houston. This looks to be an apartment complex from what we can tell right now, right off of Sterlingshire in the area, Little York and Wayside. But we are keeping track of them via Sky Eye HD. We cannot see from our current vantage point, the camera, where HPD is at this point. All of those vehicles, the many vehicles that Andy Bass mentioned, were in pursuit, but they dumped out of that white van they had been driving and are now on foot. Andy, what can you tell from a bigger look?
Yeah, Elisa, they ran into this right behind the apartment complex that we picked them up at, and they ran into this field that it looks like a vacant field right here. This is where I lost him. You did see the HPD helicopter go through my shot not too long ago, so they were keeping on him. HPD was right behind him as well. I believe we got 1 suspect down here. Yes, they got 1 suspect in custody here, which is good news. And then we also had this other suspect running back here. I did see HPD helicopter in the process of doing that, going with this victim, but unfortunately, because the brush is so thick down there, we have lost him as well. I think he is there. There he is. Yeah, nope, got him back up running. So he's now running southbound along in this empty field. If he's not careful, he's going to run right back into his buddy where the other cop is, and that's where he should pretty much wind up.
Away, Andy, we can see from where you are pointing the camera that he's making his way through that brush, but what is beyond all of that brush? What is he heading toward? And is there any law enforcement waiting for him or any people that might be bystanders and need to get out of the way?
it looks like he's heading right back to that apartment complex where they bailed out of the van. Now they're in that thick brush right on the north side of the complex, and I can see him right there. He's hiding in these bushes. Hopefully that the pilot is going to get to the HPD helicopter to get this guy's position exactly where he is. But that's where he is. We are on the north side of that apartment complex, right there in that vacant field. We got one guy in custody right now, and we're still trying to get the other guy, established to where he's at. But that's where he seems to be hiding out, is in this brush on the north side of this apartment complex where they bailed.
And Andy, from what you can tell, does that apartment complex look occupied? I didn't notice a lot of vehicles. We do see, of course, the apartment-style buildings, but perhaps is it shut down, abandoned, or what can we tell from
It looks occupied, Elisa. I can see someone standing on the balcony right there on the right side of the screen. So it looks like people are living there right now. This guy is just hiding out in the bush. I believe that's him. There he is right there. So we got him pinpointed basically here. I believe the pilot is talking to the HPD helicopter right now, trying to get the position of where this suspect is, so the cops can come here and get him.
And that's something to consider as well. You are in air traffic. We do have knowledge that HPD is in the air over this. And what can we tell from what they're doing in terms of surrounding that entire area to ensure that this person doesn't get away?
Well, with us here and HPD, I could see a couple officers walking that other suspect back as well. I'm pretty sure they're trying to get to pinpoint to get to here as well. I'm going to pull out the camera just a little bit. You can see a few HPD officers right there at the top of your screen just trying to get back here. Hopefully they'll just...
At this point, have you seen this additional suspect have any kind of interaction with law enforcement at all? Take a look to the right if you could. So we have him there now at an apartment building, up at the door, unknown to us whether or not this is his apartment building, whether or not this could be a friend or if he's just trying to get into a building and get away. We're keeping an eye on this suspect. If we can recap a little bit, this person was with another suspect in a white van, being chased by Houston police and perhaps other law enforcement. There were several law enforcement vehicles, but now we are tracking this suspect as he continues to try to elude law enforcement. Was up at the door of an apartment. Unknown if perhaps it was the apartment of somebody he knows, or if he was just trying to get inside and get away from the view of our camera. Andy, what else are you seeing right now?
Right, Elisa. Yeah, there's the van that they abandoned right there, and I believe he went down. I'm going to try to get the pilot to swing to the left right now, or to the right, I should say, and see if we can't get him over there. We're still trying to figure out exactly where he went, but unfortunately we have other aircrafts in the area, so we can't check for position up here too well. But we did lose him inside this brush right here. There's the van that he occupied, and I'm going to pull out the camera just a little bit. There was an HPD officer that I saw not too long ago that was in this area, and I'm just trying to figure out if he ran or is still trying to hide out in this thick brush.
So, Andy, any chance you could get back into that vehicle? That looks like it crashed into the side of the building.
It did crash into the side of the building. You're correct. There's another suspect being apprehended by HPD officers right now. We're still looking for that guy in the white tank top that we were chasing here. If you can see the three officers off to the side, so they're definitely in the area where we last saw him. We're just trying to figure out where he went.
So wherever he is, he does seem to be in very close proximity to law enforcement. But to be sure, he was trying to get into one of those apartments, and perhaps beyond our view because of the trees and the brush, he's gone into another apartment there in that large complex. So we're trying to keep an eye. Andy, are we zeroing in on this particular spot because we think perhaps he's up there?
According to Aaron Moss, the pilot here, he's talking to HPD, and this is where he went into. You can see the officer now going onto the staircase to those two doors. We believe he's in one of these apartment complexes. I believe HPD helicopter did see him walk into one of these apartments, and that's why one of the officers are now on there. That's why I'm zeroing in.
This is no doubt a very precarious situation for law enforcement officers.
Didn't do that. So anyway, then.
And no knowledge on our part how much that officer might know about what's going on inside the apartment. If, in fact, that is the one the suspect entered, we are kind of watching and seeing this unfold.
We believe that was the one that he went into. You can see another officer on the ground going up to give him some backup and some cover up there. You know, I think we're just going to wait and see it to see if it comes out.
And at this point, you have to imagine that if they can't get somebody to simply open the door, at that point, and it may be premature to mention, but at that point, they don't often just go in on their own. They'll call for backup, something like SWAT, but we're not at that point yet. We're just trying to wait and see what these two officers will find on the other side of that door, if they can even get somebody to come to the door.
Yeah, Lisa, we're still trying to figure it out. I believe HPD helicopter said they saw him walk into the second floor apartment complex. You know, the car, this is where they abandoned the vehicle on the other side of this complex on the west side. We are on the north side of this complex right here. I'm going to back up just a little bit because I'm not too sure what's going to happen here if they do try to use force to get into that apartment complex. If they feel like it's necessary. We're still looking around. I believe they got 2 suspects in custody as of right now. The third one is still on the loose, and we believe that's where he is positioned inside this apartment complex.
And just to recap this began, our coverage of this anyway, began about 15 minutes ago. We joined in on the situation as Houston police were trailing a white van with what we understood were 2 suspects inside. I know you just mentioned 3, but at least 2 suspects inside, refusing to pull over, but were moving through the northeast part of Houston in the area of Wayside and Little York, then pulled into this apartment complex, which appears to be right off of a side street called Sterlingshire. Law enforcement now waiting to see if one of the suspects will come out of one of the apartments there, but they bailed out of the white van that they had been driving while it was still moving. It appears they allowed that van to crash into part of a building, or at least some brush that was there at the corner of one of the apartment buildings. Took off on foot. It was difficult for us to keep track of them as they ran through the brush. The trees were kind of covering what we could see. They did eventually catch up with one of the suspects. We saw him just a few minutes ago in handcuffs being walked over to where other law enforcement were, but one in a white tank top remained on the run. And right now, Houston police are at the door of this apartment because as this person was moving through the apartment complex buildings, he was trying to get into different doors. This is the second or third one that he tried. And Andy, you were saying that you were hearing some radio traffic. The HPD really thinks that they've got something on the other side of this door, right?
Absolutely. According to the HPD helicopter and along with several units on the ground, Elisa, this is where they believe that third or second suspect, depending on, we don't know which one it is, the one in the white tank top did run to this apartment complex on the north side of the unit, of his units, and this is where he's being held up right now. You can see 3 officers, 2 on that balcony, 1 on the staircase, knocking on that door to see if he's going to, just give himself up without any problem. I'm going to just back off just a little bit so you can get your bearings. This is where they basically bailed out of that white vehicle. That white van is just on the other side, this west side of this apartment complex and this apartment unit right here. And the other 1 or 2 suspects have been apprehended. We did see them walking back to the vehicles right there at the top of your screen. So yes, hopefully this will end peacefully. This guy will come out with his hands up, but you can see more units are coming here to give these officers some backup as well.
And you do have to wonder how long they will stay there at the door before they call in for, like you mentioned, some additional backup, perhaps even a negotiator to try to talk to this person. It's unknown to us right now exactly whether or not they've even had communication with anybody inside that apartment. We did see them knocking. They seem to be waiting patiently, but so far didn't even see anybody peek through the blinds. So we're not sure at this point what they think they're going to gain from continuing to stand right outside the door of the apartment. Andy, can you give us a bigger look and let people know? Just right there, those 2 officers are there. There is a lot of support just on the periphery. And if you'd like, go ahead and zoom back in now. I just wanted to make the point that there's plenty of law enforcement there on the scene. Many of them involved in the chase as it began, and they begin to trail and follow after the longer that a vehicle resists pulling over. But at this point, they've gotten to a spot where it appears they
So
think
everybody,
they've got the suspect, and they are trying to make an arrest here. There was a possibility, and you had mentioned it earlier, Andy, that this stemmed from a bank robbery. We are still working on trying to get information on why this chase began. But as we joined it, police were already in pursuit. At least 2 suspects in a white van refusing to pull over from police. And when we joined it, it didn't seem to be high speed. They were able to make a turn into a parking lot.
I'm gonna read this to you. Houston car chase, October 10th, 2014, abc13, ktrk, khou, Houston ktrk. A police chase in northeast Houston this morning.
Went out on foot, and now that's where we are with these officers as they try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, our biggest concern right now is that some innocent bystander.
We've just gotten information
here, not knowing that if someone was actually home or not knowing if they know that person or not.
Okay.
I think that's what the
A
cops
police
are really
chase in
cautious
northeast Houston
this
morning.
That door. So we don't know if he knocked on that door, tried to forcefully enter that place.
This morning turned into a SWAT standoff at an apartment complex. And now 3 suspects, Michael Ray Russell, 46, Derek White, 17, Frederick Johnson, 22, are in custody. They have not been charged. It all started around 10 a.m. after police say the suspects robbed a Dollar General. Officers chased the suspects who were in a white van to an apartment complex on Sterling Shore. At times, the suspects could be seen crawling through the brush and grass behind buildings. 2 suspects were taken into custody fairly quickly. She told Stacy, "Yes, I'm mad. Because they pinpointed my nephew, and her nephew didn't do that. That's why I'm mad. They pinpointed him out." Police searched door to door at the apartment complex, at the apartment building, for the third and eventually a SWAT team was called out. That third suspect eventually came out one of the units and gave himself up. Resident Jesus Disc said they were
We know that you will stay over the situation and stay on top of whatever happens next. We are going to have an update on this on Eyewitness.
They were in hot pursuit chase.
In just a short half hour, but yes, those officers now standing
It's really sad. It's really sad that things like that happen around here. A fight broke out in the apartment complex.
This story as is necessary. We'll get back to you at 11 o'clock. We want to get back to the breaking news from the beginning of our newscast.
That's right. Houston police are searching for a robbery suspect
Complex parking lot.
on a high-speed chase.
After the arrest of the final suspect, reporter Miya Shay, who has been following this story, reported the altercation broke out after nearby family members got upset and a fight began.
I want to show you what's going on right behind me. See a number of police cars.
Yes, they're intimidated.
They're
intimidated by him. So they point himself out. They pointed him out.
What's been going on? There were apparently 2 suspects initially.
Police impounded the van allegedly used in robbery, and all 3 suspects were under arrest. But even as they were driven away, and the aunt insisted her nephew's last person arrested had nothing to do with the robbery. She said he didn't do that. He'll be home. To everybody, he'll be home. So I want to give you a recap how it all started at around 10 a.m. So before we wrap this up, I'm going to give you how it all started at around 10 a.m. this morning. The call came out at about 15-20 minutes ago. This is going on for the past 15-20 minutes or so, and I'm not sure. What do you know when you guys saw? Was it that was shocking to see that this has been going on for the better part of the past 15-20 minutes or so, and when you're in situations like these things that are in real life and that pursuit
or that police believe, I should say, robbed a Dollar
as well.
General took off running.
We're gonna gather some. We already gathered some information of that white minivan.
This all ended, as far as we know,
As
peacefully.
far as we know,
About to be put
peacefully.
in the back of a patrol car.
Right, so we're
Northeast
looking at
Houston.
live pictures from Sky Eye HD. This was a police chase through Northeast Houston. This ended in the area of Wayside and Tidwell, I believe.
And insisted her nephew, the last person,
where two suspects,
was arrested, had nothing to do with a bank robbery, I don't know.
While police were chasing them, they took off on foot, and we have just been over the scene with Sky HD watching all of this unfold. The first suspect taken into custody, and then the second one, as Eric was talking about, had been in that apartment for about an hour before he gave himself up.
Oh, do we have Andy Bass in Sky HD right now? I know he's been the one monitoring this entire situation from the get-go. Are you there, Andy?
Yes, Eric, I am here.
All right. You saw him kind of, how did officers get him out of that apartment, Andy? We saw him kind of walk down backwards with his hands up.
Yeah, I just saw him. We were on the back side of that apartment, and we just saw the door open up, and he literally came out with his hands up, turned around. They made him walk down backwards with his hands above his arms, and that's where he basically just gave up. Officers down at the bottom of the staircase were there waiting with handcuffs, and they just put him in custody, and he gave up nice and peacefully, which is very good news.
All right, Andy Bass, live in Sky Eye HD. Andy, thank you. We will be right back with more Eyewitness News at 11 in a moment. And we want to get back to the breaking news from the beginning of our newscast. We've been covering this throughout the morning. Both men suspected of robbing a Dollar General store, then leading police on a chase. Both of them are now in custody.
And it looks like some other things have happened since we last talked with Eyewitness News reporter Miya Shay, who is there live on the ground at the apartment complex. How's it going out there, Miya?
Well, the SWAT situation is over. That's the good news, but there is still lingering tension here in this apartment complex. There's some people standing around. Police are still...
All right, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Check out this video pops up here. Pam, let's give you a recap and a bye for a moment. How it all started at around 10 a.m. Just check out this video pops up here. Anyways, see you guys in the next video. We'll put 4 or 5 police chase videos tomorrow, I promise. Okay, bye for a moment and leave you tonight with a police chase. So, bye guys.
Here, in fact, a fight broke out after the SWAT situation was over.
I'll leave you tonight with a police chase video reaction. So.
The apartment unit when the second suspect surrendered. Authorities already arrested the first suspect. They were waiting for the second suspect. About 15 minutes ago, he came out, walked down the stairs in the apartment unit, and then was arrested without further incident. As this was going on, people who knew him, who are his relatives, grew very emotional. They were very upset watching this young man get arrested, and they made their emotions known. And following that, we had several sides inside this apartment complex start kind of fighting each other, if you will. That ended up meaning some of the SWAT officers who were initially involved in the SWAT team had to come in, break up the fight. They arrested a few more people. No word yet on exactly why they decided to start that fight after the SWAT scene. But as far as the original robbery, robbery that apparently occurred at the Dollar General store, well, that...
Okay, good night, Mom.
Both suspects in that, one arrested right away, the other after about half an hour of a SWAT situation. Folks here telling me that he actually lived here, and perhaps a lot of people around here knew him, and that is perhaps why emotions got a little high. We'll be here. We're going to find out more details on this and bring it to you a little later on Eyewitness News. For now, we're live on the north side. Miya Shay, 13, Eyewitness News.
And Miya, can you tell us right now, do we know who else was in that apartment and whose apartment that is that second suspect was holed up in for about an hour?
We are not sure whose apartment that is. What we do know is that when he ran in, police actually told everybody who lived in that apartment block, which is right behind me, to actually evacuate and come out. And there were hundreds of people, and there still are a number of folks who are just kind of milling about in this apartment complex, if you will. And apparently a number of them did know him, but it is not clear whose apartment specifically, if it's even his own, that he went into.
All right, let's hope police are able to exit that apartment complex peacefully. But thanks a lot for the live update, Maya.
Things are a little calmer now, yes.
All right, thanks a lot, Maya. Well, a Houston firefighter had to be
Steve was also over a wild chase today as robbers jumped from a running car trying to get away. It began at a Dollar's General store on Lockwood and Cross Timbers. Police say 3 men robbed the place, then took off in a white van. Sky HD caught that brief chase, which ended at an apartment complex. 2 men were caught right away. The third barricaded himself in an apartment unit for about an hour before finally surrendering peacefully. The suspect's aunt defended her nephew.
How he robbed Dollar General? When he robbed Dollar General? When he robbed Dollar General?
I don't know. That's what the police are saying.
No, he ain't robbed. No, he ain't got to rob. He got a job. A 9 to 5, 12 hours every day.
A short fight occurred after that arrest, but police quickly got that situation under control. Police say they also found a gun that they believe was used in the robbery.
Well, a wrong-way driver.
Printer van of your dreams? La Mesa RV has hundreds of vans in stock, ready for immediate delivery, including hard-to-find models like Midwest Passage, Pleasure Way Plateau, and Tip and Cahaba. La Mesa RV is adventure van